Hi, I'm Mithy. You know me. I don't need to introduce myself. With me today, I have a special guest who you have to thank for this setup because I literally could not have done it without him. Dalen Maresh.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Yeah, this is a podcast set. I know this is very unusual for the channel. Because we don't do shit like this here. But Dalen was like, no, I want to use mics and I want to use like lights and cameras. And you can't tell, but behind us, we've got like the best looking light rig. it's
We'll put a picture of it up later.
we'll put a picture of it up. I am covering two high beam lights with my utility bill papers. It makes for really good light shades.
It's really ironic that you're shading light with your utility bill.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a really professional setup. But yeah, if you don't know, I mean, follow us on Twitter because we tweet. I'm at Mithy with way too many eyes, and Dalen's at Marsh Dalen.
At Marsh Dalen.
Yeah, yep, go follow him.
I think I tried to do at Dalen Marsh and it was taken,
By
which
who?
was such a weird thing because like who is going to take that?
I think it's because Marsh isn't that common of a last name.
No, it's not.
And
It's Czech.
yeah,
It's a Czech last name, but I've also seen Indian people with
yeah.
It
with
apparently
Marsh.
can also be an Indian last
I
name.
can say like Maresh. Yeah, I can.
Maresh?
I can. Like Maharaj kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Like condensed down. I
Okay.
can see that.
Mm-hmm.
The Mithy username is taken by some German dude.
Mithy.
Yeah, just
Okay,
Mithy, and I
interesting.
want it to be just.
Have
Mithy.
you hit him up? Try to buy it from him?
I want to.
Yeah.
And he didn't tweet for the longest time, and then I sent an email to like the email thing,
Mhm.
and then like shortly after I sent the email, like 3 days later, I saw him tweeting again, and I was like, that's some like sus shit.
Yeah.
Like, why is he?
I agree.
I didn't understand what was going on, but yeah, if you follow us on Twitter, you know that I'm doing CODA. That's my big thing right now, and I don't know when this is going up. Hopefully, it's going up pretty soon. But CODA will be out this Friday on the channel, August 27th. I know I've been tweeting places August 26th and August 27th. I thought I should probably clear the air. Right now, my plan is on Thursday night, probably around like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. I'll make an official announcement for it. Maybe I put a poster or something right here. We will be doing a Twitter live stream event, kind of like a red carpet thing, but nothing really official. Just a place for me and a bunch of friends to hang out and make jokes and kind of podcast for a bit. And then after that, we'll be going on a Discord call that'll be public on the Film Caffeine Discord, and we will be premiering the film on Thursday, like a Thursday night showing kind of deal. Just because it's Thursday night showings are a big special thing to me, so I just want to do that with CODA as well, and so we'll be doing that on the Discord. Yeah, hopefully you'll be there too if you're free Thursday night.
For sure.
And then on Friday, sometime in the early afternoon, the thing will go up. So, this is something that me and Dalen have been working on for the past, I want to say, we were talking about this in the car. It felt like so long.
Yeah.
It's felt like a year, even though it's kind of been just half a year.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
We started in March.
yeah, I started scripting in January, like a week after Payback was done.
Mm-hmm.
And then you came on board in February.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started shooting in March.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wrapped principal shooting in April. And like that whole span felt like so long.
Yeah, even though it was just a couple of weekends.
Yeah.
Just for a couple of months.
Yeah,
but-
and it's like because we did an interview with JGK Gavin J. Knopp of Spider-Man Lotus director, and we talked to him about like his directing process for Lotus. And I mean the way that I haven't showed you the trailer for that. I'll show you that later.
Mm-hmm.
The way that he shot it too was like he marked it by days, and his last day of principal shooting was day 23.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like it was marked by days, but I think it was a similar thing where every weekend or so they'd go up to New York to shoot something, or they'd go down to Arkansas to shoot something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we had a relatively similar schedule, but it was much more like kind of spur of the moment. Kind of like if we had time, we did it. And
Exactly. That's the thing is so many times maybe we just didn't really know how long things were going to take to shoot.
Exactly.
But there were some days where it was like, okay, we're going to do this, this, and this.
Mm.
And we only get to the first two things.
Exactly.
Or there'd be days where it's like, wow, we're really getting a lot done. Let's go do a couple of other scenes. And so it probably balanced out in the end.
Yeah. And I think because if you don't know, Dalen is the director of photography and the main cinematographer on CODA. I say this, and I think I've told you this before. If I'm like the brains behind CODA and like Harry is like the body of CODA, you're like the heart of CODA.
Yeah.
Because you're like the driving force that's pumping blood to literally every other section of
Right.
the body and the brain. So I think I mean I fucking hats off to this dude, man.
Can we can swear on this?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, this is gonna get really fun then.
Yeah. Fuck.
Fuck.
We said it. We did it twice. We did it twice.
We're rated R now.
We rated R now. Yeah. I don't get the rating thing.
No.
We talked about this.
Right.
And I don't get because
it's arbitrary. It's kind of like BSE.
Yeah.
Like
no spoilers for CODA. There is the word fuck in the movie, but by both of our assessments, it is one time.
Yeah.
So you can watch it with the family.
It's a PG-13.
It is. I would say it's a strong PG-13 movie.
If your family takes offense to the F word, I'd probably avoid it. Should we make like a PG-13 version without the fuck, and then we make a.
It's such the scene in we're gonna try to be without spoilers for this, obviously, because you're gonna watch it in a few days. But the scene in which that fuck is said is important.
Yeah.
And to cut that feels weird.
Mm-hmm.
You can dub it, I guess. And I could ask the person who says the word to dub it. It's not me. I know I really wanted to say fuck, and I get close, but I don't. But
well, you just said it.
I gotta just dub this into the voice.
Yeah, there you go.
When you watch CODA, it will be a commentary voice over everything. So as a shot appears, we both will just be like, "That was stupid. We did it this way. We did it this way. That was stupid." I guess I know we were talking about self-criticism a lot, and I think, I think that's both strong in both of us too, where we're we're reflective about things, and we're like, "Oh, we want to do it this way, and we want to do it that way." Mm-hmm. But I think we just watched it in this little home theater thing. And it was. I think it was a good experience.
It was good, and I think like watching it, there's kind of like two sides of it to where I'm like, oh, this is really good. This is what we did great. And then watching it, there's also the side that's like, okay, if we were to reshoot this, here's exactly how I would do it, so that we avoid these certain things.
And I think that was also a thing we gradually came across the filming process too, is the way we structured this is the CODA script is a 6-act script with each act having at least one, more around 3 scenes each, the middle act having like fucking 6. And the way that was structured, I kind of went weekend by weekend from act to act, and seeing what scenes fit with what people were available. And I think honestly, above editing, scheduling was probably the hardest thing to do.
It's pretty tricky. It's hard to get a group of people to all be available at the same time.
Exactly, because all 5 main cast members were all kind of available at different times.
Yeah.
And I think, I gotta say hats off first to Cheyenne, because she was like, every time I called her, she was like, yeah, I'm free, or oh man, I'm not free here. And I think I was like, yeah, we'll shoot this weekend, and then we never ended up shooting this weekend.
Right.
I was like, oh, I'm sorry, we never ended up shooting this weekend. But I think, hats off to all 5 of them, first of all, for dealing with me and everything. But it was tricky.
Actors.
It was tricky to work for them to come on board our schedule and for us to come on board their schedule. But I think at our level, weekends was the best that we could do.
Yeah.
So I think, we fit in pretty well, I think. But
we started filming like during the semester.
Yes. Yeah.
And having a cast that's college students.
Yeah. It's hard. And it's like, I think, and I try to make it special for each person in terms of what we were shooting. And the biggest thing, and I thought of this while writing the script too, and we'll get into this when we talk about spoilers later on, but when you see each segment of the film, there are parts where it's like you can shoot all of Juan's scenes in this way, and you can shoot all of Cheyenne's scenes in this way. You can shoot all of James's scenes in this way, and you can shoot all of them in different styles or like in different environments. That I feel like that's an important thing for anyone who's like making like a bigger short film with a bigger cast. I think it's important to go through your script and see where you place characters and at what points in which you place characters and where those interactions really matter, and then base your schedule off of that. Because I feel like a lot of people kind of, and I should have asked Gavin about this too, I feel like a lot of people go into shooting thinking we'll just do everything chronologically. And I think for the most part, we did everything mostly chronologically, but
to a certain extent.
But there were definitely aspects where we were like, oh, if you're not free, I'm shooting this thing on my own this way. And if we're not free this way, we shoot it a different way. And I think that was the biggest struggle, at least for me in the beginning. But I mean, it just made it feel more cathartic
Mm-hmm.
the day we shot that final scene. I don't know if you were tired as fuck. And
Well, it was like midnight.
Yeah.
It was like freezing cold. We're in a
Yeah.
parking lot.
Yep.
It was just finally,
the
it's
lights turned off, and we were like, "Oh, okay."
yeah. Then
Yeah.
we had to change
Yeah.
location. And,
Yeah. I really want just when you watch the climax scene, we're proud of it.
yeah.
Know that we wanted to shoot at the top of a parking ramp, and a security guard came up and was like, "Nah, get out of here," even though we told him we had like permission and everything.
Yeah.
So, if you're watching this, Mr. Security Guard, hi. I don't know. I'm not
High
gonna,
is the best we can do.
that's the best we can do.
Can we do middle fingers on this show? Oh, okay.
There we go.
Okay.
You
all
can't
right.
see it,
So
but
we can swear, but
you can't show
no
it.
middle
No,
fingers.
it visually has to be PG, but
Okay,
like, you know,
okay.
because like you can turn it on and put on the TV and then put it on mute, and your parents can walk by and be like,
Makes
"Oh,
sense.
okay."
Okay.
But then like you listen to it and you're like, "Oh my fucking god, please! I don't want you to listen to these two adults who are too obsessed with filmography." So,
Right.
Yeah. but yeah, being cinematographer, I want to talk about how you came on board, because that was to me, it's still like the craziest
It's
thing
so weird.
of like just it happened, and I
Yeah.
was like, holy shit. So I mean, do you want to recount the story?
Sure.
Yeah.
It really just out of nowhere. I think I just texted you. I was like, "Hey, what's up, Mithy?"
Yeah.
You're like, "Oh, you know, just kind of hanging out in Des Moines and whatnot." I was like, "Oh, cool. You want to hang out sometime?" Because it had been, I don't know, a very, very long time since we had gotten together. I mean,
At least a year.
well, with COVID, you know, I was doing my best not to like, you know, go places
But
when I
even
don't need
before
to.
then,
and-
like we talked in high school,
yeah.
and then like
Oh
after
yeah, we were
that,
good friends in high school, whatnot.
because you were like the one person I kind of talked with here and there
Mm-hmm.
in high school, other than like a couple of other people.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, they always say when you leave high school you never talk with anyone, and I was like, no, I'll talk with people. And
Yeah.
that kind of just slowly went away. I don't really talk with a lot of high school
Yeah,
people.
I mean, there's people that I definitely, you know, it's people that I was really good friends with in high school that I haven't heard from them in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And then there's people that, you know, they get a hold of me or I get a hold of them, and one way or another, you know, here we are.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Mm.
We went and got lunch in the middle of February.
Yes.
Huge snowstorm.
Beginning.
Huge snowstorm.
Yeah, huge snowstorm.
So I live in Cedar Rapids. Mithy's here in Des Moines.
It's like a 2-hour drive. I
Yeah,
wanna
it's
say.
about 2 hours if you drive quickly. I drive quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, big snowstorm, but I got here.
Mm.
We had lunch at the place right below,
Yeah,
right below here.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
right under
Shout
us.
out to them, because that was literally, we had lunch there, and then we all in the cast and crew all
Oh
had
yeah,
lunch
we
there.
all ate lunch.
That was a fun day.
It
man.
was.
That was a really.
That's
fun
just a
day.
good restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, because I mean,
Can we
didn't-
shout them out?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah?
Haiku Des Moines.
Haiku,
Go check them out.
Mhm.
They might let us use their bar scene also.
Maybe.
I asked
That'd
them,
be
and they were
nice.
like, "Yeah, maybe." So
Mhm.
I don't know, but
It looks
I
cool in
asked.
there.
It looks really
Lots of
nice.
blue.
Lots and lots of blue. And to those of you who are watching this right now and know the show Titans, we know we really love the color blue. You won't get that joke,
Yeah, I
but
don't get
everyone at home is like cackling and giggling and crying because Titans is the worst fucking show on earth.
Promise.
Yes,
They're cackling and
they're
giggling
cackling and
crying?
giggling and
Okay.
crying. They're sobbing right
Okay.
now. Troy, I know you're watching. You're sobbing on the ground right now. I know that. And Cole, I'm genuinely sorry to you. Just a couple.
I like
shout
that you shout out.
I shouted them
That's
out.
awesome. That's
I
great.
shouted them out, and they're gonna be like, "Mithy, you're such a fucking dumbass." That's what's gonna happen. But yeah, no.
Yeah, we got lunch down there. I just asked you. I was like, "What do you got going on right now? Any personal projects, anything like that?" And you told me that you had just gotten done or were finishing up the script for CODA.
halfway through the script.
You're halfway through the
Yeah.
script. Okay,
Yep.
I was
Did
maybe
I-
a little
did I
ambitious
run
there.
through it?
Um,
Did I run through the script with you that day?
You gave me kind of the rundown, and I had seen the deal
Yes.
and
payback.
payback, and so I kind of understood where you were coming from.
Mm.
But then I was like, oh yeah, what do you got going on with that? And I think I just mentioned like something like, I've never really shot video. I think that'd be kind of cool because I've really only done still photography, and this was my first time shooting a movie, so that was
Which you can't tell. I genuinely think you can't tell.
really.
Your cinematography is better than my cinematography.
I don't know about that.
There are shots in Payback that I really like.
Yeah.
Your cinematography is still better than my cinematography.
Well,
because
thank you.
I think you have an active vision. for
Okay.
when you're shooting a scene. And sometimes I think I force that into you because
Mhm.
I'm like, this scene needs to be done this way, and you're like, okay, yeah, I'll work
I
around it. And you'll
like
do
I like the
something.
guidance. I like, and it especially helps because sometimes I just don't know what to do with the
Mhm.
scene. And
Yeah.
so when you tell me, hey, I'd like for this to be done a certain way,
Mhm.
it does help. And so I liked that. But it was interesting, my first time shooting a movie that's a lot of the same basic principles as shooting still photography.
Mhm.
But now you're just adding the element of movement
Yeah.
and time.
Yeah.
So
I think the biggest thing that I think you kind of grasped it instantly is the idea that not a lot of people realize when you're shooting short films or anything, messing with focus is really important for
mm,
specific
hmm
scenes. If you have an object in the foreground and you have an object in the background,
hmm
instead of cutting between it for like everything, you don't need it. You can mess with focus and do something with that. And I feel like that's something you picked up instantly because I was like, I want you to mess with focus in the scene. And you're like,
hmm
yeah, okay, I kind of get it. And then we went from there. And I
yeah.
think that's one thing that even when I was shooting like the deal and stuff like that, I was like, yeah, let's mess with focus. And it was like, well, there's not much we can do. We'll have it fixed. And I
hmm
was like, oh, okay. But then I think with this, I think that's why I say your cinematography is you're able to mess with that at the same time really well. And I don't know why I'm just
Yeah.
never been really good at honing that skill.
I mean, in any scene, there's any number of objects that you can focus on.
Mhm.
It can be a person, it can be a weapon, it can be whatever,
Mhm.
specifically in the realm of
Yeah.
these movies. And, you know, it adds another level to it if you can kind of play with that
Mm.
and focus on certain things.
And I think with this too, when we started off, I think we picked a good scene to start off on because we
Mhm.
look back on the scene and we're like, ah, this is rough and that's rough. But I think the first scene that we shot, the stuff on the street in the coffee shop, I think it was a good scene for us to pick apart instantly because it's not action intensive. It is a conversation scene. We're getting
Mhm.
used to the camera, and I think that was a good because if we hadn't start with that and if we started with like some kind of action shit or like some trailing,
Yeah.
because I remember even that day we shot there's the shot in the trailer where like he's just walking and you see the back of his head. We shot that just as like test footage,
Mhm.
really. And I think that was good too because it was like that weekend was albeit like a crazy schedule and a lot of stuff happened that weekend.
Yeah.
It was yeah. Um
That's an
it
understatement.
will yeah, we a lot of stuff happened that weekend, but we still got a lot of variety, I
Mhm.
think. Cuz it was like we shot that scene, we shot other scenes, and the scenes we shot on Sunday, oh my god. We'll talk
Yeah.
about it in spoilers. It's
I
yeah.
Looking back, I wish we would have allotted ourselves the time, going into it with just the mentality that, okay, there's a lot of new people here.
Mm,
What's it going to be like? And
yeah.
I think, I don't want to spoil anything, but I think there were certain things that we should have known, or at least I think in
Mm,
hindsight, it's 2020, but, go into it knowing that, okay, there's new people, there's going to be chemistry things that we need to work out.
mm,
Let's shoot this and then maybe down the road reshoot it.
mm.
I don't think we ever thought about
Yeah.
reshooting it at any point
And
in time.
it felt like because High Top talked about this and he's like, if you've ever shot a short film, you know reshoots are a necessity.
Hmm
And they kind of are. And we didn't have the right of that necessity, I guess,
Right.
just based on schedules.
hmm
Whereas like and part of that is kind of my fault because I was like, the script is this big and we have all this time. And really, we thought we had a spring and a summer and we really only had a spring.
Yeah.
So I think to change according to that and then fit it in, that in and of itself is kind of achievement on you and the cast and everyone. That I'm glad at least that happened.
hmm
I think definitely with a project like this, I feel like reshoots. There's a negative connotation surrounding reshoots. Like when someone says, I know like a Joker when it was filming, they were like, "Oh, we're constantly reshooting all the time." Or the
hmm
Mission Impossible movies will shoot a scene and the week later they'll shoot the same scene but differently, and
hmm
that's standard for a lot of these movies. But I think I think with those kind of movies, you need to allot that time.
Right.
If you're shooting, like the deal didn't need reshoots,
No.
or like Payback didn't need reshoots. And those things don't necessarily, I think, require them because you're experimenting, you're trying things out.
hmm
And I think, I mean, we've also talked about how I don't think we're doing another CODA for a while. Like I don't think we're gonna be doing like a. I mean, we'll probably do things like CODA, but I think there's a difference between something like CODA, which is like an 11 segment, 12, 13 segments like scene fest,
hmm
versus something that's a concept that you explore over time.
Right.
And I think I think with this, we hit the ground with a hard ambition, and I think we accomplished that ambition.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and with that being the goal in mind, I think I'm happy calling that part of success.
Right. I had said this to you earlier. You probably remember, but I said that CODA is probably not probably CODA is as good as we could have possibly made
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and I think that's because there a lot of people come out being I could have done this, I could have done this, and I don't think we have that feeling. I think, and I think that's the thing is, albeit like whether a fight scene looks kind of sloppy,
Right.
or if a conversation scene
We
has
know
weird,
that there's certain things that
Yeah.
we could do better.
exactly
But could we have done them better?
in that moment. I
moment,
don't
yeah.
think so.
Right.
Yeah,
I think that we
and I think that's a
made it
strength
as
for us to
good
be.
as-
Yeah, it's a strength for us to be comfortable with that.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I mean, what else? I asked some Twitter questions. I want to
Do
see
you?
if anything popped up because I
Okay.
have Twitter clout, and we need to be able to.
I don't. How do I get that? Do I have to buy it?
Yes, you do
Oh,
have to
okay.
buy it.
Okay.
Let me check this. Oh, here we go. Here's some good questions. We got a good amount of questions.
That's awesome.
Let me pull up the full list and I'll pick a couple. This one is for of course. This was from CJ. He's like, this one's from Mithy specifically. What's it like being trash? I like
Ouch.
that's our opener. Thank you,
Ouch.
CJ.
That is a great first question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, CJ. That was awesome. And yeah, it's great. It feels awesome. I love trash, and I know CJ, you share that same feeling because you're a piece of shit. Drifty asked 3 questions actually. He asked first off, how is it making your biggest film yet? How is like production and shooting? I mean, do we want to talk about like what shooting was like too?
Yeah,
Because like
that'd be
just in
fun.
general, we spent each day kind of was the same, right? Where it's like almost like a 6-hour day at least each day.
Every day was a 6-hour day, so same in that regard. But every day was something new, where we're at a different location. We've got different people with us. The goal for the day is different, so that was fun. I honestly think that shooting days were a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I think because there's a requirement too. We did this where we went around the city a bit. We shot up like a few test things. I ran through the script with you. We got accustomed to things too before we started shooting. And then I also had James and Scribe come over, and then we both, we went down to the bridge. We did some test shots to kind of get locations, and then Harry and Juan came over, and then we did some tests in the apartments to get what fight scenes would look like and what different locations would look like. And I think that's really important too, as well, because we treated those like they were shooting days for the 2-3 hours we had, and I think that helped going into like shooting, being like, okay, we know the characters, we know what's going on, we just have to roll from there. So then actually shooting was fun. Like I still had behind the scenes from that one of our friends shot of just like us behind the camera just messing with shit
yeah.
and stuff, and I think that was a lot of fun to be able to just have that footage too.
Yeah, that was good. It was nice to meet new people. That's always fun.
Yeah.
We went to different restaurants on
Yeah.
shooting days.
Yep.
So
And it was a nice thing of like, yeah, just because I mean we broke it up into good segments, I think, and I mean people were usually tired at the end of the day.
I didn't ever feel overworked. Although I wasn't really doing like action oriented stuff, like I wasn't going around punching people and whatnot.
You were overworked though.
I didn't ever feel overworked.
You didn't feel overworked?
I
Okay.
think that's good. And
Yeah,
I hope
yeah.
nobody else felt overworked.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I feel like everyone got tired towards the end,
Right.
which was natural. And I feel like some of those scenes we filmed at the end of the last day when we were shooting, we could have pushed it off. But I think if we had pushed it off, we'd be in a rough spot where we would have filmed it separately, or we would have had to like shoehorn into people's schedules. And
Right.
I don't
Gotten
know.
kind of lazy with things.
Yeah,
and-
it was the end of April, for God's sake. It was late, so it's not like we could have done anything drastic for that.
Right.
But yeah, I think shooting went really well. I think it's just that, you just got to balance time. You
Yeah.
gotta balance stuff, and I mean with pre-production too. That one by a blur, and then post-production was also different. But
Yeah.
post-production was weird. It was like, because I mean, do we want to talk about third unit shooting too? Because that was interesting. I feel like that was much more relaxed. But I feel like I still have shots that we got for third unit that I didn't really put in the film,
No.
and I just like it was.
I guess
just
it's
like,
nice to have too many than not enough.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that was something that we both talked about, where if you watch each scene separately, it's like, Yeah, it's fine. It's each scene, but then when you have the interconnective tissue of like an establishing shot, that really adds to a lot to scene. And I don't know if you knew that, but I didn't know that really
I
going in.
I mean, watching it, having seen, first cut, okay, then we made this change, then you made that change, then you did this, you added effects and you added sound and all that stuff. Watching it progress is really cool. It's nice to see things come together, and I can't give you enough props.
Oh no.
I mean, sure, we've got actors and a camera and whatnot, but like you said it yourself, none of that means anything until it comes together. And so for the countless hours that you've spent editing, it's awesome.
I think with editing too, it was half of it was the pain of like I gotta monotonously edit chop scenes together, but then there is that satisfying feeling to when you're editing an action scene, you're editing the action scene and you're messing with frames and you're enjoying that part. And then I guess when you're adding establishing shots together, or you're like, oh, I gotta edit. That's what, like, even now I've been struggling with like small edits because I'm like, oh, I gotta just go in and fix this like tiny thing. And to do that, I have to like pull in this file in here. It's like, I mean, I've done more work before. It's just that because I've done more work to assemble a scene before, but then to assemble like a small thing, it's like sometimes it takes even more work than like editing the full thing together. And I don't know. That's weird to think about with editing. I think I've definitely had help from a lot of friends in the editing room, especially getting accustomed to using something like Premiere Pro. And I think I came out of it a lot stronger. So I think at least that's a good thing with this whole process. But yeah, I mean, now that it's coming out, I mean, we watched it so many times. Are you tired of watching CODA? I gotta say, I kind of am.
Really?
Of just not that I'm tired of the movie. But like, it is now hard for me to like sit down and just watch the movie myself. With someone else, it's easier because I'm watching someone else more than I'm watching the movie. But like, when actors say like, "Oh, I don't watch my own movies," I used to be like, "Well, it's just a movie."
Yeah,
I kind of get that now.
Okay,
because it's like a thing of why are you watching yourself all the time on the screen?
Yeah,
I'm fine with it for the most part, but like when I see the prick do something stupid, because a prick does something really stupid in this movie, I'm like,
no, I think at least for me, I've only seen like the finished cut, finished at that time cut.
Yep.
Whereas you've probably seen, okay, here's this 15 seconds. I'm gonna add this effect. Okay, I'm gonna go back, watch this 15 seconds again.
Seconds in slow-mo.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you've watched the movie more than anybody else in 15-second or like 10-second segments. Yeah. So
that's probably part of it too. Yeah. Because it's like I'm just tired of seeing specific scenes.
Every single frame.
Do you think if you gave me like a keyboard, just like a fucking blank document, I could type the script again?
Oh, for sure.
Like from scratch.
Yeah.
Maybe probably
make some adjustments while you're in there.
Yeah. I think
no, the script was good.
I think and I think from there, because I go back and I read that script sometimes, and you can tell that it's different. You can't. Because I can tell, and I don't know how much anyone else can tell. But I mean, I'm gonna release the script probably on Patreon sometime too, and I'll put it up in the internet later as well. And looking through that script, it's like it's weird to think that this is different and that's different, and I don't know. It's the evolution of that is kind of strange. So yeah, I'm gonna check it because I think I saw one more Twitter question as well. I'm going to make sure I tackle all of them just in case.
Real quick, I'm going to check and see if it's still recording.
Do check it, yeah. You're having that paranoid thing of like, is it still recording?
Yeah, because like I see
the red thing.
I look up at it and I like in the
view
of the camera, it's probably like fine. I look like a small child who's very afraid, but I'm just trying to look at the screen and see if it's still recording.
It's the fact that it's such a small display. Friends have been telling me to get a
we've got 30 seconds.
We've got 30 seconds. Yeah. All right. Well, before this closes out, thank you guys so much for watching. I did finish all the Twitter questions. I had nothing left. But yeah, make sure to check out CODA. Live premiere on Twitter this Thursday and out on YouTube on August 27th. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for Dalen. And
thank you for having me.
Be tuned for the spoiler podcast. See you guys. Vegas, you and I both know that's not how this job works.
Never really escape this life, can you? Always deals left to be made, always debts left to be paid. Always one final job